So you're thinking about moving to Indianapolis. In today's video, we'll be talking about the pros and cons of Indianapolis and answering the question, is Indianapolis right for you? We're going to jump straight into the pros, and pro number one is going to be affordability and cost of living. Indy is more affordable than a lot of other U.S. states. The cost of living here in Indiana is 10% lower than the national average. Food and healthcare is 4% less than the U.S. median. Transportation costs are 4% less than the U.S. median. Housing is 22% less than the national average. The average home price in Indianapolis is going to be $230,000, but that's just an average for all of Indianapolis. That price will get you into a smaller home or condo. And if you want to be in Meridian Kessler neighborhood, you're going to look anywhere from between $250,000 to over $1 million. So you have quite a variety and range in pricing. If you're looking at Carmel or Zionsville, the cost of housing goes up significantly, a minimum of $300,000 if you're lucky and are willing to do updates and potential repairs. Pro number two is going to be sports. Indianapolis has both pro and college sports teams, and Indy's claim to fame is going to be the Indy 500 in Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the west side of Indy. Indianapolis is the racing capital of the world. The Indy 500 is one of the most watched events in the world of motorsports. It attracts millions of viewers around the world, and 300 to 350,000 people attend the event in person every year in May. And a fun fact about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in the month of May and all of its activities, including the Indy 500, delivered just over $1 billion in annual economic activity in 2023. And that's according to a study done by Indiana University Public Policy Institute. The results showcased a significant scale of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 500, and the workforce development impact on the community. And more than half of that $1 billion came from just the Indy 500. So to compare that to another popular sporting event, the Super Bowl, the Indy 500 brings in twice the amount of revenue than the Super Bowl does. Other things to do during the Indy 500 include the Indy 500 Festival that hosts tons of different events around Indianapolis inspired by the Indy 500. There's the Motor Speedway Museum, although it's currently being renovated and will be open next May. You have a multitude of concerts and parties inside the track, car displays, a kids zone, there's even an 18-hole champion caliber golf course inside the track, and more. And one fun fact about the 500 and the track is just how big the interior of the track is. It's got so much to do, and it's just so massive. You can put multiple stadiums inside the track. Here in Indianapolis, we also have our own NFL team, the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have had some legendary quarterbacks like Johnny Unitas, Peyton Manning, and Andrew Luck. They were the Super Bowl champions in 2007, and we've had multiple Ring of Honor players like Edgerrin James, Marvin Harris, Reggie Wayne, Dwight Freeney, and Robert Mathis. The Colts' home stadium is Lucas Oil Stadium, and the stadium holds concerts and other events throughout the year too. The Lucas Oil Stadium has also hosted the 2012 Super Bowl. If you're a basketball fan, we have the Pacers. The Pacers were founded in 1967. They've had 6 players inducted into the Hall of Fame. The franchise has had multiple Hall of Fame coaches like Bobby Slick Leonard, Jack Ramsey, as well as Larry Brown. The Pacers have also won 3 championships, one in 1970, 72, and 1973, and they were the NBA Eastern Conference champions in 2000. But unfortunately, they haven't won any championships recently. For baseball, we have the Indianapolis Indians, not to get them confused with the Cleveland Indians, or now the Cleveland Guardians as they're now known. Indianapolis Indians are a minor league baseball team. They were founded in 1902, so they've been around for over 100 years. If you like the NCAA, Indianapolis has hosted more Final Four events than any city in the modern era. The city regularly hosts the Big Ten championships in both basketball and football. Pro number 3 is going to be amenities. Indianapolis has a ton of amenities for adults and kids. Some of the great places for kids are the Children's Museum and the Indianapolis Zoo. The Children's Museum is an award-winning museum complex founded in 1925. The Children's Museum of Indianapolis is a non-for-profit institution committed to creating extraordinary family experiences across the arts and sciences. It's the largest children's museum in the world as well. Some of those exhibits are going to be the Dinosphere, a dinosaur exhibit, playscapes for children 5 and under to play and explore. You have the Science Works, where you can explore the work of real scientists like geologists, engineers, and more. And the Children's Museum has so much to offer people of all ages. It's just so much to do, and I can't get into all of it just in this video alone. Another great place is going to be the Indianapolis Zoo. The zoo is one of the largest zoos in the country. Some of the habitats are going to be the desert habitat with the African plated lizard, bearded dragons, different species of snakes. You have the forest habitat with species like the Alaskan brown bear, Amur tiger, birds, crocodiles, and you even have an ocean habitat where you can explore tropical water species like dolphins, sea lions, angelfish, penguins, walruses, and more. The zoo has a lot to do and offer for family and people of all ages. Some other fun things to do are going to be going to Newfield's Art Museum. The Newfield's Art Museum has grown to become an internationally renowned museum. They have different galleries, extensive gardens, and over 100 acres of woodland. The campus itself is great for performances, walks, and exploring various arts. There's also a mansion for events. Newfields also has restaurants and bars for microbrews. And in previous years, Newfields has hosted part of the Heartland International Film Festival and the Toby Theater, which showcases numerous films and shorts of local and multinational filmmakers and cinematographers. If you're a fan of the symphony, we have the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, or ISO for short. The ISO Orchestra is one of the leading orchestras in the nation with its commitment to artistic excellence and its ambitious approach to music, education, performance, and collaboration. The orchestra provides extensive selections of musical programs inside and outside its historic Hilbert Circle Theater home. And if you're really wanting your kids to get into classical music, the ISO also has programs for families and kids throughout the year. Indianapolis has a bunch of great places for shopping, but one of the most popular places is going to be the Fashion Mall. It's a high-end mall with stores like Saks Fifth Avenue, Talbot's, Nordstrom's, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and the Apple Store, which in my opinion, that's the most important store. Gotta have those Apple products. And they also have the Cheesecake Factory too. Indianapolis has a bunch of great restaurants and dining options. Some of those restaurants are going to be Isley's Winery. It's a locally owned winery celebrating over 40 years and making over 20 award-winning craft wines. You got Sun King Brewery, Basbo's Pizza, a local pizzeria that's been in Indy for 20 plus years, and so many other restaurants it's hard to choose from. If you're finding this video helpful and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Central Indiana, go ahead and subscribe below so you can be the first to learn everything there is to know about Central Indiana and the market. My business partner Julie and I, we get calls and texts every single day from people just like you who are looking to make the move to Central Indiana. So whether that's in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call. Now back to the video. Now I know that Indianapolis sounds like an amazing place to live, but believe it or not, there are some cons too. Con number one is going to be traffic and roads. Indianapolis is pretty spread out. The city is over 373 square miles, and because it's spread out, it can take a while to get places due to traffic, especially during rush hour. A lot of people live in the Indianapolis suburbs or the suburbs just outside of Indianapolis, and then they commute to Indianapolis for work. And because people are commuting to Indianapolis, the streets and highways, they get backed up. Going east on 465, it gets really backed up. Going south on US 31 and Keystone Avenue also get backed up once you pass under the 465 bridge into Indianapolis. It's pretty smooth sailing on Keystone and 31 until you get into Indianapolis. Then you have a ton of stoplights all the way to downtown. Unfortunately, there are car accidents that happen all the time, making I-465, I-69, I-70, and Binford Boulevard even more congested. Indianapolis has also been doing major work to 465 for the past several years, making congestion worse during rush hour. They're doing all this to make it a better experience, but right now it's just a pain to drive on 465, deal with all the traffic day or night. There's always some kind of backup. And if you think rush hour traffic is bad, wait until you experience the wonders that are the Indianapolis roads. Indianapolis is known for having terrible roads. Since we have harsh winters, followed by snowplows ripping up the road, it wears down the road over time, and since concrete typically doesn't like to freeze and thaw, expand and contract, it just wreaks havoc on those roads with tons and tons of potholes. Some of those potholes, they will jack up your car if you're not careful, especially in downtown Indianapolis. And since we're on the topic of traveling through Indianapolis roads and transportation, Indianapolis public transportation system does not cover the entire area of Indianapolis, making it a challenge for those reliant on public transportation, and it may require other modes of transportation for some residents. We do have the Indy Go transportation services. We have some electric scooters, some bike lanes, but there isn't tons. Now, one upside is most of downtown Indianapolis is walkable, but once you start to get into the Indianapolis suburbs, you're going to need to drive. Indianapolis is more of a car-dependent city, which is great if you like to drive, but if you don't have a car, you'll have to walk, ride a bike, or use public transportation, or if you want to use Uber or Lyft, those are options as well. Con number two is going to be the crime. The crime right here in Indianapolis is not great. According to usnews.com, Indianapolis has an above average crime rate compared to other states. To be more exact, the crime rate in Indianapolis is 63.4, while the average violent crime rate is 22.7, according to bestplaces.net. In Indianapolis, your chances of becoming a victim of violent crime or property crime are 1 in 23 people. Just like in any big city, there will always be crime and places to avoid. I couldn't tell you why Indianapolis has higher crime rates than the national average. It might have something to do with the location in the U.S., since a lot of people have to travel through Indianapolis and Indiana to get to other states. Your guess is as good as mine. But why can't people just use good conflict resolution? But, hey, why do that when you can vandalize property and assault people? So go figure. Con number 3 is going to be weather. We can have some really interesting weather here in Indianapolis and Indiana, especially during the winter time. Our winters can be cold and snowy with an average temperature of in the 20s, but sometimes we'll get into the negatives, and then a week later it can be in the mid 30s or even in the 50s or 60s. So it can be up and down. There's really no rhyme or reason. It's just where we're at. The winters can be crazy and unpredictable. And a good example of our crazy weather is during Christmas in 2022, we had an Arctic blast, and it got as low as negative 10 degrees with really terrible wind chills. One nice thing though about our weather is we do get all 4 seasons. So, we experience a variety of weather. Our springs, they can be wet and rainy. Indianapolis summers can be hot and humid with temperatures often reaching into the 90s, sometimes even hundreds. Fall time here is very beautiful with the leaves changing colors. Usually fall colors will start to appear in the beginning of October. A good place to see fall colors is going to be Turkey Run State Park alongside State Road 47, southwest of Crawfordsville, Indiana. Turkey Run State Park is a beautiful year-round, but especially in the fall time. But one downside about having all 4 seasons is going to be allergies. Allergies in the springtime can get bad since everything is blooming and blossoming and waking up from the winter freeze. Allergies can also bug people during the fall due to the changing leaves and them falling off the trees. And if you're special like me, who's allergic to almost everything, your allergies are going to bother you year-round through all 12 months of the year. It's truly the wonders of Indiana and having lots of allergies. So those are the pros and cons of Indianapolis. And at the end of the day, only you can answer the question of, is Indianapolis right for you? And maybe you discover that Indianapolis isn't the right fit and you want to be in the suburbs outside of Indianapolis. Be sure to comment below whether Indy is right for you. And remember, if you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call.